Welcome to Review Set Scare with Jess and Blair. I'm Jess.
I'm Blair.
Blair, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. Yourself?
I'm doing quite well. Thanks so much for asking.
Of course.
We are officially into the festive month of December, or what we like to call holiday horror month. And we have a wild one to talk about today. But before we do that, what do you say we chat a little bit about some horror news? Blairski, would you like to kick this off?
I've only got one thing this week, but Eli Roth just announced that Thanksgiving 2 is a go. So after all the success of Thanksgiving, just people absolutely loving it, it got greenlit pretty much right away. He said he will be taking the year off to write it.
Wow.
Yeah, he wants it to be bigger, better, and just a more full story than the first one.
Good on him. I recently read that it had just passed $30 million at the box office, which I believe it broke the budget. So good for them. And we were talking about it. You've seen it. I have not seen it, but it just seems like a total passion project for him. So I'm glad that he's going to be doing a second one. Good for him. People seem to really like it.
Yeah, man. His announcement of it, he did in a video, a little vlog video, and you can kind of just see the excitement in his face. Like he's really stoked to be doing this, which is awesome. Good for him.
Yeah, I think that video came out today. You had sent it to me. I have yet to watch it.
Okay.
But I will watch it later on tonight. Yeah, should be cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked for it. Excited for Eli Roth. I love pretty much anything Eli Roth has done. So I'm pretty stoked for it.
In for a nice little treat. Hopefully that one will be out. I'm assuming, well, he's taking the year off, but
it'll be 2025 sometime.
25,
I imagine. Yeah.
Fair enough. I've got a couple announcement trailers or release trailers or pieces of news. Sorry, not trailers. It's official. Beetlejuice 2 has officially wrapped filming. Beetlejuice 2, which stars Michael Keaton, Winona Ryder, Jenna Ortega, Willem Dafoe, and a ton of other megastars, is set for release September 6th, 2024. Now, of course, we've talked about it in the past because of the actor strike, because of the writer strike. This one did take a hit. I believe it was supposed to be finished filming a couple months back.
Yeah.
But of course, major delays because of the strikes. But kind of nice they were able to finally finish that one. And yeah, September 6th, something to look forward to.
Finally, apparently Johnny Depp makes a cameo appearance in 2. I read somewhere.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if he shows up for a little bit.
Yeah, Tim Burton and all.
Yeah, absolutely. Deadline reported earlier this week that Ethan Hawke will be returning as the Grabber in the Black Phone sequel. The Black Phone 2, which will be released June 27th, 2025. We'll see almost all of the original cast return. The first Black Phone brought in $161 million, so it's no real surprise that we're getting a sequel on that one. That is a big payday.
Did you ever watch it? Did you see it?
I haven't, and I keep seeing it on streaming services. So it is available. I haven't had a moment. I've read the short story.
Yeah.
I have not seen the movie yet. And I do like Ethan Hawke, but you've seen it.
I saw it in theaters. It was really good. Yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah.
I'm curious to see what they'll do with the sequel.
Hopefully a lot more. I do. The one thing I do remember with the original is it's kind of got a slow pace to it. It's one of those movies where everything kind of happens at the end. So I'm open. It kind of just has a faster pace, just more happening more often is kind of what I want for it, but we'll see.
And then finally, this is one that I am beyond excited about. I've talked about it a few times in recent episodes. The much anticipated Robert Eggers Nosferatu finally has a release date. It will be December 25th, 2024, Christmas Day next year. We have a whole year to wait, but if you're a Robert Eggers fan like me, it will be well worth it. Nosferatu, a remake of the 1922 film under the same name, will be starring Lily Rose Depp, Bill Skarsgård, Willem Dafoe, Nicholas Hoult, Emma Corrin, Aaron Taylor-Johnson, and Ralph Ineson. They also have released some still photos.
I saw those.
Yeah, I think there's one with Lily Rose Depp and one with Nicholas Hoult, and they both look They both look great.
You can kind of see the shadow of Nosferatu in the
Of
background.
Nosferatu.
Yeah.
Yeah. Robert Eggers said that Bill Skarsgård in this one is unrecognizable, which makes me even more excited than I already was, which was already very, very excited. So December 25th, I know how I will be spending Christmas next year. Yeah. That's all I have for horror news. What do you say we get into this week's episode? The first episode in the month of December, aka Holiday Horror Month, goes to 1980s Christmas Evil. Runtime on this one, 1 hour, 40 minutes. Blairski, initial thoughts.
It's a good time. It's a long movie.
It is. Talk about a slow pace.
Yeah.
I mean, when we both saw, and we'll get into this in likes and dislikes, but briefly we'll chat about it. When I saw Slasher, and I saw what John Waters had to say about this one, I immediately got excited. And I thought, oh, Slasher, there's going to be bodies everywhere. There wasn't. Fun facts. Blairski, you got any fun facts for 1980s Christmas Evil?
I've only got 2 fun facts for this movie. The first is the toy factory scenes were filmed in an actual New Jersey toy factory, which was owned by the family of the film's executive producer, which I think is pretty cool that they use
Really cool.
a legit toy factory for the set.
Yeah.
Final fun fact is this movie was originally called You Better Watch Out, which is funny enough because the title of our very next movie we're doing this month is Better Watch Out. So I thought that was kind of a trick.
It's kind of neat too. In the opening, I guess credits, it says You Better Watch Out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I immediately thought, am I watching the wrong movie here?
Yeah.
Because of course, going into it, press play Christmas Evil, but then Better Watch Out was on the screen. So kind of neat. I've got a couple of fun facts here. Director Lewis Jackson came up with the basic idea for the film after smoking marijuana one night during the 1970s and seeing a vision of Santa Claus holding a knife.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, sounds about right. Yeah, absolutely. Kathleen Turner, who played Peggy Sue in Peggy Sue Got Married and provided the voice for the iconic Jessica Rabbit in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, was offered the role of Harry's sister-in-law, but she turned it down.
No.
I mean, screen time for Harry's sister-in-law is
very minimal.
3 minutes, 5 minutes.
If that, yeah.
And then finally, we talked about this last episode, or on the Wheel episode, sorry, but John Waters has stated that this is his favorite Christmas movie. Yeah, it's very campy. It's very over the top. It's fitting. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. This one directed by Lewis Jackson, also directed 1974's The Transformation, A Sandwich of Nightmares, which he also wrote. Blairski, you and I both love sandwiches.
Eat every sandwich, buddy.
This one also written by Lewis Jackson, who, like I just said, wrote The Transformation, A Sandwich of Nightmares. This was his last movie that he directed that I could see.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, not a huge resume. Only 3 things, but not bad. This one starring Brandon Magart as Harry, also starred in 1980's Dressed to Kill, 1982's The World According to Garp, and 30 episodes of Sesame Street.
Really?
Yeah, he played both Buddy and George the Mailman.
Okay.
He is also the father of musician Fiona Apple,
Really?
which I thought was kind of cool. Yeah, really,
cool.
really cool. And then also starring Jeffrey Dooman as Philip. He starred in 1988's The Blob, 1992's Newsies, 1999's The Green Mile, 2007's The Mist, 19 episodes of The Walking Dead, and 75 episodes of the hit TV show Billions. Not a bad resume.
Not at all. I actually do remember him in Green Mile. I had to think about it for a second. I do remember him, yeah.
Yeah, Philip, his Harry's brother. Yeah. Synopsis for 1980s Christmas Evil, courtesy of our dearest friends at I Am Adibi. A toy factory worker, mentally scarred as a child upon learning Santa Claus is not real, suffers a nervous breakdown after being belittled at work and embarks on a Yuletide killing spree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that synopsis too. I like it.
It's not bad. It makes the movie sound maybe a little bit more exciting than it
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
is. This leads us to one of our favorite segments, Kill Count.
Kill count. The time of the show we count the kills.
Blairski, we got a kill count for 1980s Christmas Evil.
We do, man. And this one I was able to count while watching it. I did not look this up at all. We have a kill count of 4, possibly 5, depending how you interpret the ending of the movie,
Yeah.
which we'll get into. But I'm leaning towards 4, kill count of 4.
Fair enough. And that being said, and I think this is a good segue into likes, dislikes, the portion of the show where we chat about what we liked, what we didn't like, and everything in between. Although the deaths, the kills in this movie, they're few and far between, pretty unique.
They're pretty awesome. I actually have, that's one of my, wrote very little notes for this, but that is one of my notes, is very creative kill methods in this movie. I actually quite enjoyed the kills in this movie.
Yeah, some of the weapons used I've never seen used in a horror movie before. One of my favorites, a Christmas tree topper, a star.
Yeah.
And then a little toy army soldier with a knife or with a sword was used to stab someone in the eye.
Yeah, it's like a bayonet that the little toy soldier's holding. Also,
Right,
before he uses the Christmas topper, he attempts to use the Santa sack.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
which is also a method that I don't think I've ever seen before.
Yeah, a very silent kill.
Yeah.
It didn't even stir the house at all. And then, of course, there was a pretty brutal hatchet attack. I mean, the kills few and far between, and you had to kind of wait a while to see them.
And they happen very fast together.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to slasher movies, especially, I mean, I saw the date. I've never seen this movie before, but I saw 1980. I saw a slasher movie. I thought, perfect. There's some pretty iconic slasher movies that came out around this time. I was anticipating that the movie would start and 5 minutes later we would get our first kill. And it just didn't happen that way.
No.
I think we were about, I would say an hour in before we got
over
our first
halfway
kill.
through, or at least halfway through.
At least halfway through. Yeah. But like we said, they were rather creative. Not bad. We talk about it every episode. We love our intros. And boy, oh boy, is this one bizarre.
It's so weird, man.
Blairski, would you like to give a brief rundown of the intro?
Well, basically, it sets the tone for the rest of the movie as to why this guy is kind of the way he is. But it's 2 kids, 2 brothers, and they're watching Santa. Well, their dad, but Santa put presents under the tree. They're all excited. They end up going to bed. The one kid, which we find out later, it's Harry, comes back downstairs and he catches Santa basically going down on his mom.
Yeah, a very sensual scene that goes on for ages.
Yeah, he's just sitting there staring too forever. I'm guessing this scarred him for life.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's that he's thinking Santa went down on his mom, or whether or not, like the synopsis says, he realizes it's his dad and Santa's not real. One way or another, it seems that is the moment that kind of spiraled him into crazy.
Triggered something.
Yeah, triggered something, yeah.
I mean, fast forward 30 years and he's waking up 55 days to Christmas, rolling out of bed wearing full-on Santa PJs and a Santa hat.
Yeah.
I'm thinking something scarred him.
Yeah. It's a little weird, man. And he's kind of a creep. He's a peeping Tom for sure.
Yeah, big time.
And he's watching all these kids. He has his own like naughty and nice book.
Yeah.
Just so weird, man. Just so weird.
It's so odd, and I get the idea of they're trying to make this guy appear to think that he's Santa Claus.
Yeah.
But the bits that bother me, obviously, the whole naughty and nice, the peeping Tom bit. But I mean, for somebody who thinks he's Santa Claus. He's not a very good Santa Claus, or at least not at first. You'd think that he would be practicing the laugh, the belly chuckle his whole life. He doesn't say ho 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 once this whole movie.
No, and there's that one scene where he's practicing to say Merry Christmas with the Santa laugh after. And I feel like that scene is 5 minutes long of him just practicing to say those words over and over and over again. And you're right, he should have been spending his whole life doing that if this is what he really wanted to do.
It's unsettling, is what it is.
It's fucked up.
It's honestly, this movie, it's more unsettling and cringy. It's certainly not scary in the traditional slasher way. It's laughable. It's an enjoyable movie. It's fun, but it is it's certainly more unsettling and cringy than anything else.
Oh, 100%.
Especially with Harry's character. He's just he clearly has some issues.
Big time issues, man. Big time.
Now, some of the scenes were funny. One in particular that I can think of was the Santa Claus police lineup, where they're looking for the killer, the killer, and they just bring in every single mall Santa that they can find.
Yeah.
And there's a quick little dialogue between two Santas. One mentions that how depressing this whole situation is. And the other one mentions that he was brought in while he was surrounded by a group of kids.
Yeah.
It was such an image that was, it flashed across my brain where this guy was just being dragged away by this group of screaming children.
And it's funny, at the very end of that scene in the background, you can kind of hear one of the cops just saying, none of these guys are him.
Yeah.
The costume had dark, like lining or whatever. Well, I don't know what you would call that, but you know how Santa has white usually on the cuffs of his suit. And
the character, Harry, the character had foolishly tried to enter the house, or tried to enter a house using the chimney, which of course
that was hilarious.
Was not going to work. So of course his Santa costume is covered in chimney ash, and it was. I mean, it's a dead giveaway. I know which one it is. It's the guy who tried to shove himself down the chimney.
It gets stuck, man. Gets stuck in the chimney. It reminded me of Homer Simpson.
It was very much a Homer Simpson moment. Yeah, absolutely. Oh goodness, it was. This movie, the dialogue, it was nothing special.
No.
I have written down here, I felt like it was mostly Harry trying to get into his Santa character, like you had mentioned, with the Merry Christmas bit. And then him humming different Christmas carols in between him stealing Christmas presents and regifting Christmas presents. It was a very repetitive movie.
It was very Christmassy though.
Very Christmassy.
Lots of good Christmas decor, Christmas music, very Christmassy, minus, the killing and psychopathism and
you were all over stuff. You were all over the Christmas humming.
Yeah. Yes, it was.
Big fan of the carols.
Well, I kept thinking what John Waters said when he said it's not only the best Christmas slasher ever, he was saying it's the best Christmas movie ever. So when I was watching, I was trying to pick up on the actual Christmas aspects of it, and there was quite a bit.
Oh, it's very much a Christmas movie, no doubt about it. It's very clear on it's right from the get-go. It's about this, kid who is traumatized by an experience he had on Christmas.
Yeah. And
the whole thing is about, it's all about Christmas. Besides the humming, this music in this movie, we love talking about the music. Super ridiculous, very 1980s.
Yeah.
Lots of really heavy synthesizer.
Very heavy, yeah.
Yeah, not bad at all. Oh my goodness. Let's chat about the ending.
Okay, yeah.
And how extremely anticlimactic this ending was.
Yeah, let's do that. Should we tell the listeners what happens at the ending? I mean, this movie's from 1980, so...
The movie has been out since 1980, and I think people are still arguing about the ending. Nobody really knows truly what happened. It's very much I had mentioned this earlier today to you, it reminded me a lot of the ending of the movie Grease,
Mhm.
minus the cool leather jackets and Olivia Newton-John. But it's very much Harry in his white Chevrolet van with a Santa Claus sleigh painted on the side of it, driving off towards the moon.
Yeah, and like literally flying towards the moon in it. Um, my personal opinion, he just drove that van right off a fucking bridge, killed himself, and that is just kind of what he was seeing in his own messed up head.
Right.
Is him kind
Him
of
going to the moon.
or not even not even going to the moon, but just like flying off in Santa's sleigh, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna be on the other side of this, and
Okay.
I think that he truly did fly off to the moon. I think that in this world, in this ridiculous movie, that is totally plausible.
It is. I guess you're right.
I think that it is absolutely, yeah, it's totally possible that he drove off to the moon.
And that ending happened very fast. It was very quick, and as you already said,
Yeah.
very anticlimactic. That happened, and then just credits.
I kind of hate when, you have a movie that clocks in at 1 hour 40 minutes, a lengthier movie, and the ending is rushed.
Yeah,
Especially when the beginning and the middle, for that matter, is kind of stretched out.
yeah,
It feels a little bit longer. I hate when they rush the ending. It's like, well, then you could have ended it 20 minutes ago.
yeah. You could have ended it way earlier.
Yeah.
Or if it's already this long, give it another 10 or 15 minutes and give it a good ending.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I honestly, I thought although it was a rather straightforward synopsis, I thought it had great potential to be a really cool slasher movie.
Mhm.
It maybe felt a little bit flat. And I've heard rumors about it maybe being remade.
That'd be okay.
I could see it being a really cool remake.
Yeah.
This kid traumatized at a really young age by Santa Claus.
Yeah.
And then, becoming this psychotic killer who is, they could have done more with that whole thing. And they just made him kind of feel or look weird and creepy. They could have made him a bit more sadistic, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. Can we quickly talk about the best mob we've seen since Bride of Frankenstein?
I have that as my last note. Great angry mob. Yeah.
Oh man, I always wonder this with mobs and mob scenes in movies. It was a little easier to understand with something like Frankenstein or Bride of Frankenstein because it takes place in the old days where there's just flame everywhere, there's fire everywhere, there's lanterns everywhere. Where are these guys just randomly getting these blowtorches? Like
they're carried, and it's reminiscent of Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah.
It is the 1980s. I mean, they all have flashlights, I'm sure. But it's like, nope, we're an angry mob. We got to play the part. So let's chase this sadistic or not so sadistic Santa Claus with, clubs that are wrapped in some kind of fabric that we then light on fire. It is a proper angry mob, which, I mean, kudos to them. If you're going to be an angry mob, you got to be traditional.
You do. And it grows so quick. I think that mob started with like 4 people. The next scene, it looks like there's like 40, 50 people. All of a sudden. Yeah.
It grew fast. And honestly, with the Christmas movie, Christmas time, the holiday season, it's all about tradition. It's all about being together. You might as well have a traditional angry mob where the whole neighborhood is involved, right?
Oh, fuck. Yeah, I agree, buddy. I agree.
This movie was goofy. I mean, all in all, this movie was goofy. I wrote down here, it is the perfect movie to have running in the background while you're making dinner or you're working on something else.
Yeah.
If you look away for a couple minutes, you're probably not going to miss much.
Nope.
But if you sit and watch it for 5 minutes, there's going to be a moment that you enjoy. It's a nice film to have running in the background for sure.
Yeah. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it.
It was, I think, a good way to start off the month for sure.
Yeah.
Do you have any more dislikes on this one?
I think I've covered everything I've written down, and I think we've pretty much talked about the movie. There's really, to be honest, other than what we've already said, there's not much more to it.
Yeah, I think we've definitely milked it for sure. Let's move right along to our next segment. One of our favorites, some might say. Lessons we learned from watching 1980s Christmas Evil.
Lessons we learned from watching insert title of movie here.
Blairski, did you learn a single thing from watching 1980s Christmas Evil?
I actually have two things here that I've learned.
Okay.
The first is if you and your wife have kids and want to role play together, it might be a good idea to do it in a locked bedroom and not right in the middle of the living room.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's their own goddamn house. They can do whatever they want.
Fair enough, but look at what happened to their son.
Yeah, you might scar your son for life. What else you got?
Last thing I learned here is do not be like Moss Garcia and throw rocks at dogs. Also, look after your personal hygiene and don't look at nude magazines.
Yeah, it kind of seemed like that was the worst thing that Moss Garcia did, was he didn't take care of his personal hygiene.
Personal hygiene, man. Personal hygiene, nude magazines, and he threw rocks at dogs.
He's going to hell for sure.
He is. Did you know? Sorry to interrupt you. Did you notice what he gave him? He left something at Moss's house.
I don't recall.
And I didn't pick up what it was.
I don't recall.
Okay.
I know a lot of the gifts that he dropped off, which is another part that I did like. A lot of the gifts that Harry had dropped off at the other houses, replace them. He would go and steal the good gifts and leave behind the crappy gifts that his toy company was making.
Yeah.
Which I do like.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
I've learned a couple things from watching 1980s Christmas Evil. First, apparently in 1947 New Jersey, people didn't leave out milk and cookies for Santa Claus. They left out milk and an entire loaf of bread.
Yeah.
All right, sure. Man, oh man, I hope you like your dry bread and milk.
Yeah.
All right.
It's for dipping. The milk's for dipping.
I guess so. I also learned don't climb into people's chimneys, even if you think you might be Kris Kringle.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do it. And then finally, remember to lock your windows and doors, especially if you live in 1980s New York City.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, goodness. This leads to one of our favorite segments, Line of the Night.
Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night.
The segment of the show where we discuss our favorite lines from the movie. They might give us chills. They might give us the giggles. All we know is that they are our favorites. Blairski. You have a couple lines on this one?
I have a line on this one. It was said by Harry when he's dressed as Santa. He got kind of dragged into a party that he was peeping in on.
Yeah.
There were some kids there that were all obviously excited because he looked like Santa. And it's what he said to these kids. It's kind of long, so bear with me. It says, "Now I want you to remember to stay good boys and girls. Respect your mothers and fathers and do what they tell you. Obey your teachers and learn a whole lot. Now, if you do this, I'll make sure you get good presents every year. But if you're bad boys and girls, your name goes in the bad boys and girls book, and I'll bring you something horrible."
And then there's a dramatic pause, and then they all laugh.
Yeah, then they all laugh, but he's totally serious. But it's one of those great but bad lines. I loved it.
I've got a couple lines here, of course, starting off with Harry when he just says, "Moss Garcia, Moss Garcia, Moss Garcia."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moss Garcia.
And then I have Moss Garcia says, "I don't like Mahjong," when his mother is forcing him to put on his coat so he can go with her to go and play Mahjong. I have one from Harry, a nice little scene from dialogue right before he commits his first murder. He says, "I have something for you." And the obnoxious churchgoer says, "I have superlative taste." And then Harry proceeds to stab the man in the eye with the toy soldier's bayonet. Excellent piece of violence.
Yeah, it was.
And then finally, Harry's boss, after this has all happened, says, How did you and the missus like your first New York religious experience? These three people were murdered right outside
Yeah.
the church where they were having midnight mass.
In front of everybody.
Brilliant. Only in New York.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. This leads us to our final segment of the show, our favorite. I would say our favorite segment.
Some might say anyway.
I wouldn't. I
would.
love this
I
one.
would.
I would. Celebrity lookalike time.
Celebrity lookalike time.
The time of the show where we take a look at the cast and discuss their celebrity doppelgangers. Spoiler alert, it usually comes down to the character's hairstyle. Blairski,
Yes,
you have a
sir.
celebrity lookalike?
I got one, and it is Harry, not dressed as Santa. Reminded me of Bill Murray in Scrooged.
I agree. I
Yeah.
have that written down as well.
100%, man.
Harry reminded me of three people.
Yeah.
The first being Bill Murray.
Yeah.
The second being Lou Reed.
Yeah.
And then the third being the piano man himself, Mr. Uptown Girl, Billy Joel.
Yeah.
It's definitely the hair, the eyebrows, and the eyes themselves.
Yeah, for sure, man. Those
But
were
Bill
good ones.
Murray, Bill
Yeah.
Murray and Scrooged for sure.
I picked up Bill Murray right away, man.
Yeah. This leads us to our final rating for 1980's Christmas Evil Blairski. Out of 5 muddy face prints all over the side of the very white exterior of your house, what do you give 1980's Christmas Evil out of 5?
That is a very random scene in that movie.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense, but
Nope.
whatever. I think it's just meant to bring like the peeping Tom aspect of it, but I don't know. It went over.
suppose.
It went over my head.
Yeah.
Needless to say, I'm going to be giving it 2.5 muddy face prints all over the side of a very white exterior of your house out of 5.
I'm going to go a little bit lower. I'm going to give it 2 muddy face prints all over the side of the very white exterior of your house out of 5. This movie, good, not great.
Yeah.
Good,
That's
not
what-
great. Perfect way to start off the month. It is very campy. It is very 80s. It just could have been so much more.
Yeah. I do hope they do a remake of that. I think it would be fun.
Me too. Me too. The premise is definitely there. The
Yeah.
idea is there. They just need to, go a little bit more with it.
Go
a little bit
bigger.
further.
Go
Yeah,
bigger.
Absolutely. Like I said, a great one to start the month off with.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the rest of the films in this festive month. But until next time, this has been Reviews at Scare with Jess and Blair. I'm Jess.
And I'm Blair. Remember to stay scary.
And eat every sandwich. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Reviews at Scare. Make sure you check out our Linktree at linktree/Reviews at Scare. That's linktr.ee/Reviews at Scare, which has links to our Instagram, YouTube, Patreon, Twitch, and many other things. If you'd like to email us, you can reach us at reviewsatscare@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and remember to stay scary and eat every sandwich. A proud member of Pod Nation TV.